folks.
It's a real thing.
The Edge Morning Show.
We're now in the approach phase. Everything looking good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, guys.
Welcome to the Edge Morning Show.
With Chris Knight, Eric Johnson, Fox 2's Faust, and Tabitha Hassell.
The Edge starts now.
Good morning, everyone, and a big welcome back.
Happy Friday, everybody. Some would like to call it...
Don't get ahead of yourself here.
Thursday.
It's not the weekend.
It's only Thursday.
I can dream, can I?
No.
Wake up, smell the coffee, all right?
No time for coffee, isn't it, gentlemen?
I need a little more than that.
What do you need?
I'm bored and I need some entertainment.
I can do that.
I can do that.
Buckle up, baby. Okay, it's showtime.
Hey, it is showtime. Happy Thursday, everybody. 8:02 on this August 5th already. Welcome to the Edge. Eric Johnson will be here. Chris Knight's here. Tabitha Hassell and Faust of Fox 2. Appreciate you joining us. As always, you can catch us on Facebook at 100.7 The Viper. And we'd love it when you share the show. We tell you all day long. Tabitha, for the update, are we still on YouTube?
Yes.
Holy moly.
As of now.
What the hell is going on there?
We haven't been struck out yet.
Well, I guess we got to amp it up a little bit. We got to make sure people understand what we're about. The phone number is 636-695-2915. If you do call today, try to do so when we don't have guests, because today we are packed. Some days we have a lot, some days we don't have any, but today that's where we are. And this will be, again, another edition of the fastest 2 hours of morning talk radio anywhere, because that's what we do. Coming up here in about 12 minutes, 10 minutes. Hey, Chris, I don't know, are we going to break before Rodney, or are we going to take a break after Rodney? Because he'll call in about 8:14, 8:15. We got him at 8:15.
We can break before.
Okay, so we're going to break before. We got a quick segment here this morning. We're going to talk with Congressman Rodney Davis of Illinois, get an update on everything that's going on at the Capitol, behind the scenes, things you see what's going on. Rodney's one of the best. What's going on with this infrastructure bill? What is really going on with it? What's going on at the border? What are we going to be dealing with that right there? The COVID situation across the country, the variant situation, all that stuff. We'll talk with Rodney. I want to ask him if he's going to run for Illinois governor. I know a lot of people in Illinois are not happy right now because J.B. Pritzker yesterday mandated mask for kids K through 12 again to start the school year. I just, with no science, there is not one scientific study out there showing that masks work. Not one. Not one. I want to see one. Show me. Educate me. Show us the show this morning. Not one. So we'll talk with Rodney Davis coming up at 8:15. Then at 9 o'clock, we're going to talk with a guy. I think he's going to go far in politics here in the state. I really do. We're going to talk with David Gregory. He is the current Missouri State Representative for the 96th District, and he threw his name into the state auditor hat. I mean, he's been talking about running for a long time, so he's going to run for state auditor. The current state treasurer is also in the GOP primary for that, Scott Fitzpatrick. But Dave is going to join us today. He's just amazing. I've worked with him for 6 years. The guy he gets things done. He's an attorney. He's an accountant. And he came out of the gate yesterday with his announcement with, by the way, the Missouri Fraternal Order of Police. The endorsements don't get any better than that right out of the gate.
Right.
Dave coming in strong saying, I'm going to investigate any government entity that is defunding police and take care of this really fast. That's how you make a mark in a red state. I can tell you that much for sure. So David Gregory will join us at 9 o'clock. Then at 9:15, we're going to talk with Lincoln County Prosecutor Mike Wood. You want to talk about an interesting situation going on.
Right.
He can't get into his courthouse unless he wears a mask, despite being fully vaccinated. And that goes for any citizen in Lincoln County. This is not a mandate. It's not a county mandate. It's not a requirement. It's not an asking of. No other buildings in all of Lincoln County are forcing you to wear a mask if you go into the building. Just the courthouse. And guess why? Because one judge issued what's called a judicial order. A judicial order. And instead of doing this for just his courtroom, which is what the law, and anybody feel free to let us know, and Michael explained it to us. This judge said, "Nah, I want it for the whole courthouse." So apparently the whole courthouse thinks they have to stop you at the front door before you come in unless you have a mask on, not just his courtroom.
Is there any way to bypass that
Well,
restriction?
that's what Mike's gonna talk to us about that. We need to be doing a story about this on Fox 2 because it's a talk about.
Right.
Talk to Mike, talk to the judge. But if you look at law, if you look at some of the study, it's only for a courtroom. Even other judges that are being asked about this are saying, it's only your courtroom. It's not.
Right. 'Cause
It's not
one
the
guy-
entire courthouse.
I say one judge can't make a decision for the entire courthouse, surely.
Exactly. No, I've never heard of it. And that's people get crazy
That's
during
called overreach.
People get crazy during crazy times, as we have seen. And then when pride sets in, when ego sets in, Sam Page, then you don't know how to act. And then you start saying even more crazy things. And it's just the more crazy you do, then you start believing your own stuff. So we'll talk to Mike to see what the possibility is there. But it blew my mind when I heard and saw that. I'm going, wait a second. Mike Wood, the Lincoln County prosecutor, can't get to his office inside the freaking courthouse?
Right.
Because one judge says, no, you can't do that.
While that same document says we don't have to wear masks back in our chambers, but everybody out there has to wear masks.
That's
It says it right there on the piece of paper.
So we'll talk to Mike Wood at 9:15. Also going to break down, we did some research. We did a study yesterday, and one of our new really, I say new in the last year, reporters, Zara Barker, she is a young superstar. She is good. She tries to find the truth. She doesn't just go with the flow. She did a story yesterday about testing, and this is frustrating the hell out of me. If you get COVID, or if you're told you get COVID, or if you're told you get the variant, whatever, we know it can hit people really hard. It is real. People get really sick when they get it. Some people die, but the percentages are way higher of survival. Survivability rate's still up 99.99 or whatever percent. It can be serious. But did you know, in our newscast at 5 o'clock yesterday, and our newscast at 9, a total of 7 times, we had either us saying or somebody saying how serious, and we know cases are surging because of the variant. Cases are surging because of the variant. You know this, right? Right, of course you do. Do you know that if you go get a test, they don't even, the testing right now, and the PCR testing, SSM told it they're using PCR testing.
Right.
Total Access Urgent Care using PCR testing. There's different types of PCR testing. Some of the testing is going away December 31st, 2021,
Right.
and there's going to be a new test. But there's not one test out there, right? And there's not one test.
I've never had a PCR test.
They're trying to come up with a test that'll tell you if you have COVID, the variant, or guess what? The flu. Because right now, there's testing out there. We don't know the difference. Remember, we're told there's no flu now. Oh, flu doesn't exist
Right.
anymore.
I looked at flu cases yesterday.
And?
It is very interesting that when you look at flu cases for 2020 and the 2021 season, the line is like almost flat compared to prior years when you see the big peak.
But
It's
people
very
don't
interesting.
want to admit it.
Right.
Because it's a pride issue.
Right.
Well, it's this. It's that. Because then you have to admit you're wrong. I'm sorry, you're flat out wrong if you think flu disappeared. Show
Right.
me where flu went.
And we also have to
For
remember
2 years.
Well, we also have to remember all the presumed COVID cases because during
But they're
during
not
the
giving us
lockdowns-
presumed cases with the Metropolitan Pandemic Task Force. They're giving us.
But I'm talking about past numbers that we kept track of that led to the lockdowns and the business restrictions were also based on not only real cases, but they were based on presumed cases. Because back then, a lot of times, if you had certain symptoms, they didn't test you. They didn't want you to come in. They just said, well, you're a presumed case of COVID.
Well, the problem that we have now is the testing that you go get. And you should ask these clinics, ask the doctors, because as we were told yesterday, the only way you're going to know if the variant is in the St. Louis metropolitan area, despite Clay Dunnigan, the task force manager, and all these doctors saying, oh, cases are surging because of the variant. Guess what? They don't even test for it.
Well, they test the sewage.
It has to be sent away
Correct.
to the CDC, which takes 2 to 3 weeks. And they don't do every single case.
Right.
It's only on a case-by-case basis, which means we're being told, oh, we've got hundreds and hundreds of cases of the variant, and there's no proof.
So they're sampling PCR tests, is what you're saying, at the CDC
Yes,
to check for
you
various
send it. You send it to the
variants.
CDC.
And I know for a fact the public health department tests sewage to see what variant is most prevalent in each community, because that way if there's one variant that's more prevalent than the other, then of course they're going to go around and say, well, Delta variant is predominant in this community. And then of course anyone who tests, they're going to be presumed to have the Delta variant. So those are that's a lot of presumptions and not a lot of facts.
That's the problem. So, hey, you can say it here. You can say it nationally. You know, we can hear the president saying it. We can hear Nancy Pelosi say it. We can hear the...
And does the variant really matter? I mean, if it's not
well,
more
we're
deadly,
told, here's why. But we are told...
it's more transmissible.
Tabitha, they're telling us the deadly variant. We're hearing our
I know,
own...
I'm hearing it called the doomsday variant.
We're hearing it called that, but yet the testing is not even testing for it here. There's no proof in the St. Louis area. That's what blows my mind. Or the country.
Well, there is in the sewage system, but yes, as far as people being tested,
but
you
the
don't
problem
know.
is the testing takes so long
Right.
that there's no way to even prove that it's there. So it's frustrating. We'll get into that today, too. It's packed as always, the fastest 2 hours of morning talk radio. The Edge. Eric Johnson will be here shortly. Chris Knight's here, Tabitha Hassell. I'm Vic Faust of Fox 2. All right, time to talk to one of our favorite guests here, Illinois Congressman Rodney Davis. Rodney, thanks for taking time to jump on the phone with us today. We know you're busy. Where are you this morning, by the way?
Thanks, Vic. I'm actually in Illinois, so I got some district stuff to do today and a hearing via Zoom that we'll do with the architect of the Capitol.
I can ask you this, can't I? I hope I can, and if you don't want to answer, that's fine. There's rumors going around that people want you to run for Illinois governor, and today would be a great day to talk about that after news that we got yesterday from J.B. Pritzker. I know there's a lot of parents who are upset, frustrated because they want to see some science in regards to a mask mandate being put back in for kids K through 12. Has that crossed your mind with as much politics as you got going on with your life?
Well, thank you. The parents should be mad, Vic. Parents should be very upset. They lost a year of schooling. I've got a school district in my district where during the last year, the freshman class had a 4 in 10 failure rate, and that 40% of freshman students had an average GPA of 0.99. It seems as though that Democrats like J.B. Pritzker and others in the state of Illinois are putting the science behind what their own preferences are, and they're not thinking of the students. They're not thinking of the parents. We've got to have a new governor. I don't know if I'll be the candidate. I just know that we are going to have a Republican that is in the governor's mansion after the next election. I've been open and honest. I'm waiting to see what the congressional maps look like. My future political battlefield hinges upon supermajority Democrats that have been known to be corrupt in Springfield, drawing fair lines or not.
I hope you're right. I'm not sure if Cook County will agree with you. They're pretty liberal up in that area. Rodney, is there anything you can tell us about the January 6th committee that's taking place? I'm really curious. To me, it seems so biased. What is it exactly that they expect to come out of this meeting, out of the committee?
Well, it is biased. As a matter of fact, I think what you're going to see is just an attack on former President Trump. I've tried to be a voice of reason when it comes to an investigation, a true investigation into 1-6. It was a disaster. It should have never happened. And it doesn't matter who you voted for, who you supported. Nobody can support the criminal behavior that took place that day, the attacks on our brave men and women who were part of the Capitol Police and the D.C. Metro Police. But this is not the way to get to the bottom of it. I actually spoke to Speaker Pelosi on the dais that night when we reconvened because I was a teller. I was counting. And she talked about a bipartisan, bicameral commission. So I wrote a bill a couple of weeks later that every Republican supported as part of a vote in the House in January. My friend John Katko used that legislation, made it better, and then we had another bipartisan attempt at this. And the problem was we asked the Speaker to make some changes into the scope of what could be investigated and also give us some ideas on how you're going to hire staff to this committee. And she said, nope, no deal. So Republicans, not me, I voted for it because it was my bill, but many Republicans were uncomfortable, and I don't blame them. This is why Speaker Pelosi wanted to get to a partisan select committee. I was supposed to be on this select committee too. And then she did the unprecedented thing, guys. She kicked 2 Republicans off the committee. That's not been done in the history of the institution for a select committee or for a regular committee for that matter. This unilateral power grab, it forces me to think there's something she's hiding.
Absolutely.
I know the American people are wondering when you use the word hiding when it comes to this infrastructure plan. It's the big news. You know, you deal with this stuff on a daily basis. Pelosi also now threatening if this does not go through that, work's not going to get done. Can you give the listeners an idea of what's actually going on with this infrastructure plan? And then we got the second part of this is the $3 trillion or $3 trillion plus plan, because it is so difficult for the average person to follow and all the freaking money that's involved.
Yeah, you're right, Vic. It is difficult. And frankly, I'm involved in infrastructure debates in D.C. Sometimes it's difficult for me to follow. And some of my friends will laugh and tell you there's other reasons for that. But, when you look at infrastructure, the bill that is being put together in the Senate right now that has not passed was based upon framework that I agree with. I mean, a lot of the things they talked about in that framework were things I've been talking about for years in trying to lead a debate on investing in infrastructure. The problem we have is once this legislation is debated in the Senate, we'll see if that agreement, that framework that now has legislative text can hold up. But here's the kicker. Speaker Pelosi and President Biden and Chuck Schumer want a $3.5 trillion reconciliation package, which is going to be all their Green New Deal priorities and all of the things that are going to raise costs and raise taxes on every single American. And Speaker Pelosi has said she will not bring up this bipartisan infrastructure deal, even if it passes the Senate, until the Senate also passes her wish list of getting rid of the Trump tax cuts, raising costs on every single American, and also all of her Green New Deal priorities at a cost to the American taxpayers of $3.5 trillion at a time when inflationary pressures are going crazy.
Why does she think that this is actually a good thing, or what is the positive for the American people? I'm trying, because certainly they don't just sit there and go, we're going to screw over America.
Yes, actually they do.
Or do they actually think this is helping people in some way that it's hard for us on the show to see?
Well, there's a big difference between Democrats and Republicans. And first of all, remember, Twitter is their echo chamber. There was a study recently done about Twitter that said if it was a congressional district, it'd be the second most liberal congressional district in the nation. So what happens is the far left and their friends in the media sit there on a social media platform like Twitter and start to believe each other. They believe that the American people want to get rid of the Trump tax cuts and raise taxes and costs on every American. They truly believe that. And they truly believe that they won't cripple the American economy by implementing these new Green Deal policies that are going to kill jobs, good collar jobs in central Illinois, and raise costs on every single senior on fixed income just to turn their lights on. They truly believe these things. It's crazy, but I see it every day out there. That's why Speaker Pelosi will double down, because she represents that far left part of the Democratic Party that is causing so much polarization in this country.
Do you see a strategy? And I keep looking at this, and I'm hoping this is a strategy that you're going to run the clock out, because I feel like there's going to be a red wave that's insane, that these guys are not going to get away with this. And is it possible to stretch all of this legislation out over time? The $3.5 trillion, all this money, everything that the Green New Deal stuff. Are you guys trying to just slow it down so that when the midterms come up, there's a chance to start reversing some of this stuff?
Well, we don't get a chance to decide what's slowed down and what's not. That's the Democrats could put that on the House floor and the Senate floor tomorrow if they would like. They run the show, they run the agenda, and they can put it up. So we're not slowing anything down.
Wow.
It's their own policies that slow these things down. And frankly, my friend Kirsten Sinema, who I got elected to the House with, she's a voice of common sense in the Senate. Now, the infrastructure package, I think the American people could overwhelmingly support. But when you couple it with a $3.5 trillion package and say they have to go together, that's going to raise taxes and costs on Americans and fund their Green New Deal priorities, Americans aren't going to stand for that. But I agree with you. We are going to have a red wave. Remember, the Twitterverse, that all of these Democrats and the members of the media just sit and create their own echo chamber in. They thought they were going to pick up 15 to 25 seats in the last election, including mine. And what happened? We picked up 15 seats because the American people who don't sit there in that echo chamber, they actually go vote, and they care what we're doing.
Yeah, we're talking with Illinois Congressman Rodney Davis. And by the way, you won in a landslide, too, considering what you were supposed to do at that standpoint.
I was wondering what data and polling everybody was looking at. I'm like, I feel pretty good.
Something that I am very concerned about, and I call people out on this all the time, Rodney. I was like, okay, if we're going to talk about how serious COVID is and apparently the variant, and, you know, when we talk about how serious it is to get vaccines, what in the world is going on? I'll just say it. What in the hell is going on? Anybody that deals with the border that doesn't take that serious and what's coming across the border into not just Texas, but states across the country now, as we're being told, with no testing, no taking care of the virus, any of that nature. Is there something serious that people should know about this, and how bad is it?
It's terrible. I was at the border a few months ago with Steve Scalise and a group of members, and that border is a worse crisis than what you could ever imagine. Every single state, as my colleague and good friend Ann Wagner likes to say, is a border state. It's the drugs and the human trafficking that are coming up Interstate 55 and into our communities from that border crisis. That border crisis, you know, this is why suburban America is not going to be a Democrat vote stronghold anymore. There were a lot of people in suburbia that just didn't like Donald Trump for who he was. But they're going to fight back when politicians like Joe Biden bitch about Ron DeSantis in Florida and let 7,000 COVID-positive cases of illegal immigrants come into McAllen, Texas. And at the same time tell the rest of us that have been doing what we can to get the message about vaccinations out. And they want us to mask up. They want us to lock down our communities because statistics clearly show the likelihood of getting a breakthrough infection once you're vaccinated that's going to require you to be hospitalized and possibly die is less than getting struck by lightning. This is why you're going to see Republicans continue to win.
We had Governor Parson on a couple months ago, I think, and we asked him.
Actually, 3 weeks ago.
Well, no, the one that I asked him. I asked him, I said, now these illegal aliens, they're obviously coming into Missouri. They have to be. Can you tell us how that works on a federal level? Are you working with him? And he had no idea. Remember, he just kind of said, I don't really remember. I don't know. So is there a sunshine law or some kind of a Freedom of Information Act that we can find out how the executive branch is putting these people all over the country right now? Is there anything we can do just to find out where they're going? Or is it just like, nope, white buses just leaving the Texas and they're going to end up in Florida, California, Missouri? Is there a way to find this information out?
It's not just white buses, it's airplanes. You can see it at every airport that's near the border. You see unaccompanied minors going out into our communities under the guides of not-for-profits or Department of Health and Human Services. If there is not a way to know where everyone is going, there should be. You're absolutely right. But it's a testament to what the Biden administration is failing miserably at when they won't even work with our governors like Governor Parson to tell him where unaccompanied minors are being moved into into Missouri or other states throughout this nation.
So true. I mean, it seems like a dereliction of duty at some point. It's like you took an oath for the Constitution to supply security for our borders, both of them, all of them. And there's one border.
How can he say that he's for protecting anyone from getting the COVID vaccine when he lets COVID-positive illegal immigrants?
That was my point.
Exactly.
That's so true. That is so. Do you ever have a chance to ask anybody on the other side of the aisle where you work, say, why are you doing this? Do you understand that we have a pandemic going on, and do they just kind of shrug their shoulders at you? Do they understand the gravity of the situation? Do the Democrats? I know they don't care, but do they at least wink at you and go, "Yeah, we're doing this on purpose"? What's the dynamic there?
No, some do. Like my friend Henry Cuellar, who represents a district that's on the border in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Henry gets it, and he's a voice of common sense. but too many of them don't want to get beyond the politics and the policies of the Twitterverse, and they want to be able to say, oh, we're doing the right thing, and pat themselves on the back as they go into their own community maskless and COVID vaccinated and live their lives like D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser. Hey, let's shut the city down, but I'll go ahead and do my thing, and I won't have my life interrupted. It's the rules for thee and not for me that I think the American people are sick of. And frankly, I don't think that gets enough attention as to why Republicans won so big in 2020 in the congressional races.
No question about it. Roddy, do you feel personally that the Biden administration is going to mandate vaccines for all Americans?
I certainly hope they don't. I mean, look, we ought to encourage people to use the science. And frankly, this is the Trump vaccine. These three vaccines are the three vaccines that were being developed by Operation Warp Speed and other companies during the last presidential campaign. And these are the vaccines that Vice President Harris was talking about in her lone debate with Vice President Pence when she said she might not take a vaccine if Donald Trump was president.
I remember that.
She said
She
it.
put the political litmus test on these vaccines. Anyone who is a Republican, who is conservative, who supported President Trump like I did, and we ought to give him and his administration the credit for getting these vaccines out and stopping people like Governor Pritzker from having the excuse to lock down our communities again. I encourage you, go get the vaccine. I've done it. And remember, if you're vaccinated, the chance of you getting hospitalized or dying with COVID are about as good as being struck by lightning. It's not going to be a guarantee. People get struck by lightning. But hey, I'll take my chances with this vaccine and being able to continue to beat this disease and stop Pritzker from locking us down.
Before we let you go, Rodney, anything else that you want to touch upon? Anything you want to let our listeners and viewers on Facebook know, or anything else that's coming up, just to make sure that while we have you, we get the most out of you, because I know you got to get going.
No. Look, I appreciate being on. I always love coming on with you guys and hope we can do it even on a more regular basis. I just want everybody to closely monitor what's happening on our southern border. And when politicians in Washington, as we mentioned earlier, talk about how they want to help everybody be in good health, tell them to use the science. The science is there that our kids do not need to be locked out of our schools. The science is there that our kids do not have to be forced to wear a mask when the risk of an infection hospitalizing a child is so very low, less than 1%. Use the science, use the data, and get vaccinated, because, damn it, the Trump administration ought to be celebrated for what they did to put us in the situation to have 3 vaccines.
Rodney, good luck dealing with Nancy Pelosi today and tomorrow.
Bring a whip.
Next week.
Bring a whip.
Thanks, guys.
Rodney Davis, Congressman, we appreciate it. Thanks again. Hey, and let us know if you ever decide to run for governor, all right?
Yes.
Give us
Absolutely.
an update.
Thanks.
All right. Always
We'll
good to
break
talk.
it in Missouri for Illinois.
Well, we have a lot of Illinois listeners.
We sure do.
That's
We
why.
do.
Especially as we go into the Metro East, being in the St. Louis
Right. It's just
metropolitan area.
unfortunately that Cook County up there, such a group of
I know,
liberals
he's
in Cook
right.
County.
I know you're right, but
And
people are sick of it.
People are.
People are sick of it, man. They're sick.
Yeah, we got to take a quick break, but hey, share the show, 100.7. Is it break time? I heard the music. Okay.
Yeah, it's break time.
We're going
Let's
to take a
go.
break. We are Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, Tabitha Hassell, and Vic Faust of Fox 2. Share the show, 100.7 The Viper. You can also catch us on Facebook. Don't go anywhere. We got a big show coming. 9 o'clock, we talk to David Gregory about backing the police, a state auditor. He's running for auditor, who says he'll go after your government entities if you're defunding police or trying to. He'll be the investigations on. We're going to talk with Mike Wood from Lincoln County. He's the prosecutor. He can't even get into his own courthouse because one judge has locked down the whole courthouse. You've got to have a mask. And is it legal? He says absolutely
This is my
not.
house, bitch.
This guy's a little bit of a tool anyway. So we'll see.
Plus, we'll come back. We'll talk about what's going on in our communities. The mask mandates, by the way, that Pritzker put in, we'll tell you what Rockwood and Parkway are doing.
Come on.
Big news. This might piss you off big time.
I'm already mad.
This is just a quick 2-minute break, 3-minute break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Edge right after this. It's 8:31. You won't want to miss what's going on.
Morning Show. Back in a moment.
Good morning, privates! Good morning, Drill Sergeant! I mean, seriously, what a pleasant morning. The sun is shining and the birds are chirping.
You seem to be in a good mood today.
Astute observation, Private. Astute.
He's probably happy because he found out Honey Nut Cheerios can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
So, in lieu of the obstacle course today, I propose a nice meditative nature walk. Does that sound delightful to everyone?
Yes, Drill Sergeant!
Have a change of heart with Honey Nut Cheerios. Learn more about Honey Nut Cheerios by picking up a box at your local store.
Time for some upgrades? A new deck, a privacy fence, or maybe a whole new look with new siding. But who do you call? What you gonna do? Call Bad Boys Construction LLC. They are locally owned and have over 30 years experience in every kind of fencing, siding, and deck jobs. Free estimates and everything is done right the first time. Bad Boys Construction is veteran owned and gives military discounts. So what you gonna do? Call Bad Boys Construction LLC. Online at badboysconstructionllc.godaddysites.com. On Facebook at Bad Boys Construction LLC.
The Troy Area Chamber of Commerce presents the 16th Annual Memories on Main Car Show in Troy, Saturday, August 7th, rain or shine. Main Street in Troy will come alive with great cars, music, food, and much more. Registration runs from 8 a.m. until noon and awards at 3 p.m. Dash Black for the first 200 registrations. For more information and registration, call 462-8769. That's 462-TROY. Visit TroyOnTheMove.com or like the Troy Chamber on Facebook. The 16th Annual Memories on Main Street Car Show in Troy, Saturday, August 7th. Be there.
People's Bank and Trust is helping you get a grip on your finances with our new mobile banking service. You can now manage your accounts, check balances, transfer funds, and pay bills all from the palm of your hand. Visit us online at www.pbtc.net for more information and to start using mobile banking. People's Bank and Trust, hometown banking the way it should be. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, Conrad Bellman at Bellman's Car Connection in St. Peters. Right now, we're paying top dollar for your pre-owned vehicle. At Bellman Car Connection, we'll take anything on trade, van, Jeep, truck. Spring into a quality pre-owned car, truck, Jeep, SUV, or van today. The inventory is always fresh, so hurry in today before someone else buys the one you want. Bellman's Car Connection in St. Peters at Highway 70 and 370, where you will never pay the max. Online at carnection.com.
Welcome to MegaNet. For slow internet, press 1. For indifferent customer service, press 2. For confusing pricing, press 3. For extremely long wait times, stay on the line. We're 87th in line, 85th in line, 87th in line, 85th in line, 85th in line.
Where there was frustration, now there's satisfaction.
Hello, this is Helen at Gateway Fiber. How may I help you?
Isn't it time you refreshed your internet provider? For more information, visit gatewayfiber.com.
Hey, Dan Breen here for someone other than my kid's restaurant, and that's Brian Dawson Roofing. If you're renting, I'll give you permission to tune this out, unless you just like the sound of my voice. If you're a homeowner, business owner, or one of those rental property moguls, sooner or later you're going to need a reputable roofer. That's when you call Brian Dawson. I met Brian on a men's retreat a couple years ago. This man has the expertise and the integrity to take care of all your roofing needs. I've trusted Brian Dawson with my roofing needs. You should too.
Now, back to the Edge Morning Show.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Edge. Happy Thursday. Weekend's coming. Hope you've enjoyed the weather this weekend. It's been freaking incredible. Awesome. Just look at those dew points. That's right. I'm talking about dew points. They've been really low.
Wow.
Our humidity has been non-existent this week.
Show me your dew point, baby.
Yeah. My dew point.
When does this end? When's Zimmerman say?
Tomorrow. Tomorrow. It starts to get up in the 90s and by Saturday. Anyway, this weather's been amazing. If anybody's been getting out at night, it's been awesome. Welcome back to the show. Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, and Tabitha Hassell and Big Faust of Fox 2. Coming up at 9 o'clock, David Gregory, running for state auditor now. He's a state rep, has a ton of police support. Can't remember the last time I saw an auditor running with police support.
Yes.
Because he's like the days of spending money on critical race theory and the days of spending money on cutting or time on cutting police budgets are over when I win auditorship. So that's why he immediately got the support of the police. So we'll talk to David Gregory at 9:15. Mike Wood, Lincoln County prosecutor. You see him all over Fox 2 News dealing with the Pam Hupp case, and one judge isn't letting him in his courthouse. We'll see how long that lasts.
I'm
and if
scared.
there's any repercussions to that as well. We were talking a little bit from the national standpoint with Rodney Davis, Illinois congressman, about what's going on in Washington. Tell you what, DeSantis, the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, he pulls no punches when it comes to dealing with Biden or anything else. The guy is, he is just all up. You know what he is?
He is.
That's a former SEAL going, I ain't sitting back and playing this political game like it's always been played.
Yeah.
But he does it with more class, if you will, and people may get pissed at me, than Trump did. He's not tweeting. He's not calling people names. He's not getting invited.
Yeah.
But he has the same kind of messaging where it's like, not in my town. Listen to what DeSantis had to say yesterday. Mic drop with President Biden.
Well, thanks. We're excited to be here. And I just want to say something quickly. Joe Biden has taken to himself to try to single out Florida over COVID. This is a guy who ran for president saying he was going to, quote, shut down the virus. And what has he done? He's imported more virus from around the world by having a wide open southern border. You have hundreds of thousands of people pouring across every month. And it's not just from Mexico. In fact, it's rarely from Mexico. You have over 100 different countries where people are pouring through. Not only are they letting them through, they're then farming them out all across our communities across this country, putting them on planes, putting them on buses. Do you think they're being worried about COVID for that? Of course not. So he's facilitating. Who knows what new variants are out there? But I can tell you, whatever variants are around the world, they're coming across that southern border. And so he's not shutting down the virus. He's helping to facilitate it in our country. And what is his big solution? What is he so upset about Florida? His solution is he wants to have the government force kindergartners to wear masks in school. He doesn't believe the parents should have a say in that. He thinks that should be a decision for the government. Wow. Well, I can tell you in Florida, the parents are going to be the ones in charge of that decision. And one of the major medical people in his administration just recently told parents that they should be wearing masks at home when they're around their own children. This is insane.
It is.
Joe Biden also believes that vaccination should be mandated by force of government and that you should have to show vaccination status to be able to participate in society. Now, Florida, we're very proud of our Seniors First strategy. You look at the mortality in nursing homes among seniors, it's declined dramatically. But we said from the beginning, we're going to make it available for all, but we're not going to mandate it on anybody. That's ultimately an individual's choice to be able to do it. Biden, he rejects science because he denies the fact that people that recover from COVID have long-lasting immunity. And that's been proven time and time again, and the data is very clear.
May 12th,
so his
Washington
vision
University
is,
study.
just like in New York City, restaurants should ban young kids from being able to go in because they're not eligible for vaccination, and law-abiding citizens have to produce proof of their medical records just to go to the gym or attend an event or just to participate in everyday society. He wants that, but yet if you want to vote, he thinks it's too much of a burden to show a picture ID when you're voting. So no voter ID, but have to show your medical papers just to be able to live an everyday life.
I know.
Give me a break. And so I think the question is we can either have a free society or we can have a biomedical security state. And I can tell you, Florida, we're a free state. People are going to be free to choose to make their own decisions about themselves, about their families, about their kids' education, and about putting food on the table. And Joe Biden suggests that if you don't do lockdown policies, then you should, quote, get out of the way. But let me tell you this. If you're coming after the rights of parents in Florida, I'm standing in your way. I'm not going to let you get away with it. If you're trying to deny kids a proper in-person education, I'm going to stand in your way, and I'm going to stand up for the kids in Florida. If you're trying to restrict people impose mandates, if you're trying to ruin their jobs and their livelihoods and their small business, if you are trying to lock people down, I am standing in your way, and I'm standing for the people of Florida. So why don't you do your job? Why don't you get this border secure? And until you do that, I don't want to hear a blip about COVID from you. Thank you.
Out!
Love it.
Oh, where are the Democratic supporters today? Where are our Biden supporters? We need to hear from you after Ron DeSantis just undressed Biden in the worst way possible. I can't
with
imagine.
Facts.
Oh, my, with facts.
It's setting the stage for something ugly for Republicans. You know what it is, right? Donald Trump's going to say he's running for president, and there's a ton of people that want this guy to run for president.
No, they won't. Not they're.
You think they're in cahoots
tied
with each
together.
other?
That's not bad.
It is a bad when you start doing these primaries
I don't
and all of a
expect
sudden
Trump to run for president.
you don't.
No.
Trump loves DeSantis.
I'm going to say this right now on the air.
Trump has promoted DeSantis.
I'm going to say this.
He
on
has
the
said
air.
publicly good things.
Exactly.
About
I think he will back DeSantis running in 2024. I do not think Trump will run.
I hope that Donald Trump does not run.
But Eric, it doesn't matter. None of it matters.
It does matter if they start putting these two guys on NBC together in debates and they start going after each other.
Eric,
That
until
does
the
matter.
elections are 100% secure so that everybody knows 100%, as we tell you all the time, it doesn't matter.
Could you imagine DeSantis and Kristi Noem on a ticket
I
together?
would like
it would
DeSantis
be
and Abbott.
Who?
Abbott from Texas.
He comes with baggage. Kristi
No,
Noem
love
is
Abbott. I love Abbott.
you're missing the best candidate.
Who?
The
guy
best
out of
candidate.
North Carolina. What's his name?
who
I like him too.
Who blows
Scott.
away Noem and would be the more proper ticket, so to
Okay.
speak, for the country. DeSantis, Tim Scott.
I do like
well,
Tim
that's
Scott
what
a lot.
Chris was trying to say.
No, Chris
Tim
said
Scott.
somebody from North Carolina.
I think he meant Tim Scott.
He
From
did mean Tim Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim Scott's he's from
South Carolina.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good
I do
candidate
like
as
that.
well.
That's your best ticket if you're
Very
a Republican.
good
I
candidate
have to
as
agree
well.
with you on that.
Because that reaches everybody
Yeah.
or more people than
True.
not.
True.
Anyway, Tabitha, so what's the next variant? What's it called that's coming to?
Now we have Delta Plus.
No, what's the next variant after Delta variant?
Communism.
Communism.
He's
That's the
so
next
right.
variant.
There's some.
Tabitha's like my pet dog. I have to teach it, the trick and everything. It's like, Tabitha,
And
come
then,
on.
and then she teaches us.
Then it's fine. Okay, Tabitha. Oh, the second try we'll get it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Vic. You said something very important, and
I
that is
always do.
securing elections. Securing elections, because guess what? All of us, every single one of us right now can affect ongoing elections because we need to do what they did.
What?
We need to get into the polls. We need to volunteer. We need to door knock. We need to get money together to get buses out there to take people to the polls. We need to get every
We would if they weren't
single
being shot
conservative to
at.
vote.
Well, no, stop it.
No, well, Republicans aren't being shot at.
Look what
There's a bunch of
Democrats are
Republicans
being
on the
shot at.
highway.
Democrats outworked Republicans in Georgia, even if the election was unfair. They did. They outworked them in Georgia, and we already saw it with she's buying $1 million houses now.
Yeah,
who
I know
lost her
you're talking about.
election?
I can't think of her name right now.
I'm
The
embarrassed.
Georgia woman.
We don't call her the Georgia woman.
It'll come on Facebook. We'll get it for us.
But anyway, she did. She outworked. And look what Cori Bush did last weekend. You may not like her policies, and I don't. I don't agree with a lot of what Cori Bush has done. But what Cori Bush has done is she lived a hard life. And guess what? She's not afraid to go bust her ass for her viewpoint and do what it takes to get her viewpoint heard.
Stacey Abrams.
Yes, thank you, Patricia.
She slept on the Capitol steps for multiple nights, wanting, begging, claiming, screaming for eviction moratoriums to end, to get some sort of help again for people, even if it's not right. And I still don't see how it's right.
It's not right.
I have an open mind. Tell me why it is, but right now I don't see how it's responsible for all involved, not just those who are struggling, but for all who are involved.
Here's why it's not right.
She sat on those steps, and guess what? She called out the president. She called out lawmakers who went home on their nice planes and enjoyed time with their family. She slept on the steps. You can hate Cori Bush all you want, but guess what? She got crap done.
I'm sure that's not the first time she slept outside.
No, exactly. She didn't. She was homeless, Chris. And guess what? She outworked everybody else. And even though I believe her policies are wrong, she went out, busted her ass. She got stuff done. And now she is put up on a pedestal by many.
You're right. You're right.
She did. Corey Bush went out and did that.
Where are the homeowners that are fighting against this policy? Where are they?
Where are the cats?
All the people
Where are the
losing a year of
guys?
rent.
Where are the guys today that are in a bank that says I cannot pay the mortgage on this multifamily property because there's this moratorium that is they're basically not going to pay me rent for the next 4 months. What do the banks say to these people? I would love
Not
to.
everybody qualifies to defer payments. You know, it's a real and you know what? Even Eric.
I would
even
like
if-
to know what you just said because
even
that's
if-
interesting.
Even if people defer payments, homeowners can defer payments for a length of time. But you know what? That money is not free. It's added to the end of the loan. It still has to be paid back. But the problem is your mortgage payment is only a tiny bit. The house payment is only a tiny bit. So what you still have to pay is taxes and insurance every single month on your property, which can be a very hefty amount of money. And when you have somebody living in your property for 18 months who has not paid a penny of rent, and you
That
can't
was
kick
my
them
question.
out,
That was my
you
question.
are going to lose. You could potentially
So
lose your,
let
lose your property.
let me because we talk about this thing and it's called what is the blowback on this situation? What is the cause and what is the effect? Here's the cause. Let's just call it the city. The city, I don't know where these moratoriums are. I'm sure they're all over the place. They're from here to Kansas City. All of a sudden, there's a group of families in a multifamily house, four families living in a house. They don't pay rent. What is the mortgage on that house? Someone's got to pay it. Does that mean now that the bank owns this house again?
It doesn't, not unless they foreclose.
Does that mean that the bank is going to now have a house that goes into another Blythe? It's
Only
not
if
being
they
taken
foreclose.
care of. What?
Only if they foreclose.
Don't you think that that's what's going to happen? Have you ever heard of a bank saying, "Yeah, don't worry about paying us the mortgage on this multifamily property"?
I think it's happened a lot, quite honestly.
Cause and effect. Does the government not understand? If I do A, B is going to happen. What the hell is going on with this country? It's like they don't understand the ramifications of their actions. I can go across the board with the government doing that crap. It starts at the XL pipeline and works all the way to Corey Bush on the steps of the Capitol.
But who are these people? What I want to know, and this is a genuine question, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I really want to know who are the people who can't afford to pay their rent? Because anyone that lost a job, whether they were employed, self-employed, a contractor,
Bring the high heat.
Not only did they qualify for
Yes.
regular unemployment, but they qualified for that additional $300 a week.
Yes.
So some people were making more money than they've ever made in their entire lives. So who is it that's not paying rent? I don't understand
Is
it.
people taking advantage of this bizarre socialist government that's trying to be put together?
And here you go. Here's a step further. Now there's talk of giving money to the homeowners, the property owners, to help them as well.
I've not heard that. I've heard about rent assistance.
But where's the money coming from?
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's the thing to worry about.
I've not heard that plan. I'll have to look into that.
It's not law. It hasn't been signed into.
Right.
But that's now the talk.
I'm very surprised by that.
Why are you surprised by that?
Why am I surprised by that?
It falls in line.
Because the government. You mean you're talking about if
Freebie,
I owned,
just give out if you own a property and your people aren't paying you, there's creating money out of nowhere to help you now.
I am. So the reason why I'm surprised by that is because most of the time the people who own the property are middle and upper class. And this government, the Biden administration,
but you still have to pay for it.
I understand, but in my opinion, the Biden administration is all about people losing their homes. They want people to lose their property. They want people to lose their land because then the government buys it. And
now you're going way in the weeds for this discussion.
No, I'm not, but that's what happens.
Way in the weeds.
No, it's not, because
Yeah,
that
you
is
are.
what happens in a Marxist situation. The government buys the property. They buy the land.
I understand,
because you have to understand
but not
that,
in this situation, not between now and October, and definitely not with the
what
CDC.
do you think is going to happen
No.
if all of a sudden, if you don't have people paying rent for 18 months and all of these people foreclose on their property, give them back to the bank?
Look,
what's going to happen?
we understand what's going on here. This government, the shadow government that's behind Joe Biden's brain, let's just say it out loud. It's not a big deal anymore. They are trying to set up socialism across this country, period. They are trying to hand out $1,200 checks every month. Ilhan Omar. They're trying to give free housing to people that can't afford housing. That's socialism. This is a step one. This is a first volley in that. It's not about getting land from the federal government.
But that's
it's not
what is
about
happening.
it is what it is. It is their messaging. The government loves this idea of giving people free rent. This is good for them. Joe Biden pushed it. I don't know how this works, and I would love for Vic or somebody to tell me. How did the CDC acquire enough power to put together a moratorium on rents? Was that even possible? How did the executive branch move it over to the CDC, which was moved over from the legislation?
It's because they stole it. Here's the
How
deal.
is it? Why do you look at that memo and
just
go?
Over a year ago, Walensky had zero power. She is the director of the CDC. January, she took over, and Biden tapped her as the director of the CDC. She has almost no experience. Zero.
No,
experience.
she's a doctor. She's a physician.
Laws are made in Congress by lawmakers, not by a newly appointed CDC director with zero experience. However, because it's pandemic, the Biden administration goes, you start making those announcements. The Biden administration already knows none of this stuff would pass in Congress.
But
it
how
would not. So she starts to say this is what's going to do. So when she says it with the CD, she's become the most powerful person in America.
So
then the Biden administration's following.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let's just dumb this down.
Oh my God, CDC says we have to do that. So because here's the problem, Eric. The Biden administration is doing this because they said that they're only doing this where the CDC deems where there's been a rampant the surge of cases of the variant, where cities are struggling with it.
Yeah.
And that's where it happens, and that's in St. Louis.
Okay.
But once again, we still have no proof of the
I
variant.
just want to know somebody to tell me where the bureaucracy.
At the levels that they say they have.
Where does a bureaucracy, which by the
We've
way,
got 30 seconds, and we got a break.
Socialism loves bureaucracy, right? They don't have to take accountability for their actions. When did the Congress, the United States Congress, hand power off to the CDC saying, if you need to set a mandate that shuts down people's paying their rent, knock yourself out, and you have all the power and authority to do that.
We can talk more about it.
Why?
Yeah, exactly. It's a great question.
I don't know. I
It just
don't
happened.
trust the CDC.
So,
I don't trust anything they do.
No, you can't.
They're a
You
private
can't.
organization.
They've already given us mixed messages, and we'll talk more about it when we come back. We're taking a break. When we come back, we're going to talk with David Gregory, the state representative who's now running for state auditor, hear what he has to say about critical race theory and what he'll do when it comes to anybody trying to defund the police in the state of Missouri. We're also going to talk with Mike Wood, Lincoln County prosecutor, can't get into his courthouse, coming up at 9:15. We'll get into all of that. Plus, we'll actually break down what's happening with these cases. You hear everybody talking about, there's a surge in the vaccine, there's a surge in the variant. Well, most of the testing isn't even testing the variant on a local basis. It takes 2 to 3 weeks after that, and only on a case-by-case basis at the CDC. For Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, and Tabitha Hassell, I'm Vic Faust of Fox 2. If you want to give us a call after we have the guest, you can do that. The phone number is 636-695-2915. Of course, as always, share the show, 100.7 The Viper, the fastest 2 hours of morning talk radio. We'll be back right after this, including having your morning headlines and some Olympic updates.
The new abnormal.
This place is a nut house.
The Edge Morning Show.
An important part of staying healthy is keeping up with your regular preventative exams like mammograms and colonoscopies. Barnes Jewish St. Peter's Hospital and Progress West Hospital offer convenient locations for you to keep on schedule with your screenings and with extra protocols in place to keep you safe during your visit. Early detection is your best medicine. To schedule an appointment, call 636-928-WELL or visit bjcstcharlescounty.org.
It's like I blinked, and suddenly all my business shifted to e-commerce.
Now, my business hours are whenever my customers need me.
My customers want everything now and faster than ever. It's a whole different world.
Your business is changing. The United States Postal Service is changing with it. We're bringing you fast, reliable shipping nationwide, and we're bringing it right when your customers need it. Let's discover new routes. Visit USPS.com/new routes. The United States Postal Service. Priority, you.
An important message from Quiver River Electric Cooperative. During this unprecedented time in our world, we want to emphasize our commitment to continue delivering reliable power while keeping our members and employees safe. Our linemen are taking precautions to stay socially distanced. Other employees are working from home. Although we've adjusted our operations, we want you to know that we are still here and we will continue to keep the lights on. For more, visit quiver.com or call us at 1-800-392-3709. Quiver River Electric, a Touchtone Energy Cooperative.
Bentley's Marine and Electronics is open in Lake St. Louis and ready to serve you. Check out their marine section for boat accessories, marine audio, water floats and supplies. Upgrade your vehicle with a new stereo, amp, speakers, reverse camera, remote start, and more. And don't forget the home theater. Shop local with confidence and let Bentley's Marine and Electronics show you that they meet or beat the big box stores. On Lake St. Louis Boulevard across from Denny's. Online at Bentley'sElectronics.com and on Facebook at Bentley's Marine and Electronics.
Now another hour of The Edge Morning Show on KFNS Troy St. Charles. The Edge Morning Show.
Get a grip on your finances with People's Bank and Trust's new mobile banking service. You can now manage your accounts, check balances, transfer funds, and pay bills with ease and all from the palm of your hand. Activate your phone today by visiting us online at www.pbtc.net. People's Bank and Trust. Hometown banking the way it should be. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Viper Weather with legendary Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hi, this is Viper meteorologist Dave Murray. The great weather continues on this Thursday. Beautiful out the door this morning. Partly sunny skies. Warming up to about 85 this afternoon. But the humidity levels are still nice. Some clouds around tonight. 65 for the low. On Friday, partly sunny, 90. Saturday and Sunday, hot and humid. Just a tiny chance of a spot thunderstorm. Really hard to find. But 92 to 95 degrees over the weekend. Summer is back. From the Viper Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray. Now back to the Edge on 100.7, The Viper.
Quiver River Electric, a Touchstone Energy Cooperative. The Edge Morning Show.
Local headlines now with Fox 2's Vic Faust.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Time for your morning headlines. Let's talk a little sports first. The Cardinals suck. We know that. They're not even a 500 ball club anymore. Lost again last night, 7-4. I can't remember the last time, Eric, I didn't even watch Cardinal games because I was so frustrated with the product that they're throwing out there. I know they had some injuries, but it's been that way for about 2 months. They're 11 games out of first place, 53 54. Yeah, that's enough on the Cardinals. All right. Olympics have gotten better. The United States have come on in the last 2 days. They now lead the medal count, 91 medals. Second place is China with 74, but China still has a 5-medal lead when it comes to golds. But the Americans have several opportunities for golds coming up in team sports for men's and women's basketball, men's baseball. The women's soccer team managed to get a little bit of the embarrassment out of the way. They lost, of course, in the semifinals, but they did beat Australia 4-3 this morning to get the bronze. So it's better than nothing. I did not watch the opening banner raising and the.
We got to see that.
I didn't know. We'll see if there was any kneeling. Anyway, that's what's going on there. Okay, Moderna says the COVID-19 vaccine, well, it's not working. You're going to need a booster before the winter season gets here. We'll see where that is. Missouri's back-to-school sales tax holiday is this weekend. That's August 6th through 8th. Many students in Illinois and Missouri are going to be required to mask up as school starts. We haven't even talked about this, but that includes all Illinois schools, kindergarten through 12th grade, and Rockwood and Parkway. Mandatory kids have to wear masks to go back. We'll talk to some parents and teachers about that because I know a lot of people are not happy about that. Also, students' mental health is being prioritized as COVID carries into the new school year. Many schools now have programs to deal with that. Missouri recording more than 3,500 COVID cases for the second time in a week. They also said that 10 people died in one day yesterday from it. We'll continue to follow those stories as well, including today. Let's look at your morning headlines. I'm Vic Faust.
The Edge Morning Show.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, and Tabitha Hassell. I'm Vic Faust of Fox 2. The fastest 2 hours of morning talk radio. Thanks again to all the listeners and viewers, which is making the show so popular. If you want to give us a call in a little bit, you can. The phone number, 636-695-2915. Of course, you can always take us on the go. The Viper app, very popular. Lots of people use it around the country. That's ViperRocks.com. Once again, ViperRocks.com. And for our update from Tabitha, are we still on YouTube or have we been banned yet again?
Well, we've got to work a little bit harder to get banned.
All right.
So far,
we need
still
more
there.
people to follow us on YouTube. We'll see if we stick around.
Yeah, we had a couple new followers yesterday.
All right.
Thank
we
you for joining
appreciate
us.
that. All right. Let's get back to the show. We welcome in David Gregory, current Missouri State Representative, representing the 96th District out in the Sunset Hills area and parts of other areas in St. Louis County. He made it official yesterday. He is running for Missouri State Auditor, the position that's been held and currently held by Nicole Galloway. She's stepping down from politics when her current term ends. Only one other person is in that race. That was Missouri Treasurer Scott Fitzpatrick. But now David Gregory bringing the heat, as you like to say, Eric, yesterday. Mr. Gregory, good to talk to you this morning. I guess if you're going to make an announcement, you do so with the Missouri Fraternal Order of Police standing by your side, thousands and thousands strong statewide, saying David Gregory's the man for the job. Why do you want this job?
Thanks, Vic. Thanks so much for having me on. And yeah, it was absolutely wonderful having the Fraternal Order of Police statewide endorsement as I launched this campaign. But to answer your question, it's very simple. I'll tell you what, Vic, Missourians, they have absolutely no tolerance for corrupt politicians that are misusing our money, and it's happening, and it's getting worse and worse and worse as we pour billions of federal money into our state. So I can tell you that my background is exactly for this. This is what I do. I'm an investigative attorney. I'm an accountant. I'm very well trained in collecting evidence, tracking down the leads, and following the money, and that is exactly what I want to do as a state auditor.
So you're over in Sunset Hills. I was riding around over there. That's Sam Page country over there. He's a corrupt He's a corrupt politician. Just bloviate for a few seconds on Sam Page, your district. I mean, is he the kind of guy you kind of want to go after? I mean, or find out what they're doing with all this money? I mean, what do you think about what's going on in your district right now?
Oh my gosh, what a bag of worms that would open up! A can of worms that would open up. I'll tell you what. With regard to any type of accusations against politicians, I do like to be careful because I believe that we need these strong investigations from people like the state auditor before we start accusing, right? We saw a situation with Steve Stinger where it was far too late, and the auditor did an investigation after an indictment and after he was sentenced, and that's just too late. So I don't want to come out and say someone's a fraud without the proper evidence, but I want to come out and say that fraud is inevitable, it's rampant, and it will only get worse when you have less oversight with this kinds of millions and millions of spending. So that is something I would definitely tackle, and I would tackle immediately as the auditor.
He almost used the word however. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what, the one thing that, Dave, you came out yesterday, which I've never heard a state auditor talk about in any election, and I guess it is a different time now, where you specifically referenced critical race theory and the defunding of police. Why is this important to you as an auditor?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, those are actually very big key issues for Missouri. And some people have asked that. They say, well, what can the auditor do about that? The auditor can be doing a lot about it. So the auditor has a couple main thrusts from the auditor's office, and one of which is compliance and one of which is what's called a performance audit. When critical race theory is being implemented in these schools, it comes from state and federal funding, right? And any funding from federal or state money is audited by the auditor's office. And so it's critical that we understand how much of our money is being spent on things like critical race theory. There are some parents that are very fired up. We've seen institutions like the Show Me Institute that have been begging for information that should be public, that should be sunshineable, and they're just being stonewalled. Parents want to know how much of their money is being spent on things like critical race theory and how it's being spent, and they deserve to know that. And that is exactly within the purview of the auditor's office.
Wow.
Yeah, David, thank you so much, first of all, for supporting all of our first responders and our police departments. How do we reverse the course? We see everyone wants to defund the police. How do we come up with funds and take those funds and put them back into the police department, give them better benefits, less hours, obviously better pay, better equipment? How do we work around this?
That's a great question. Everything you just said is exactly right. Now, as an auditor, it's hard. We don't have a budget, and I don't have appropriation authority. That's for the legislature. But as an auditor, you can be a massive assistant, and here's how. By going in and doing a performance audit to show how poor the performance is of defunding the police, how poorly or how bad it hurts our city police when these unfilled positions are cut and budgets are lowered. When you can do that with a performance audit and show these cities and show these counties and show the entire state how horrible this is from an actual number standpoint, then you can start to garner that support from the legislature to get additional appropriations.
I know you're running for a state position, but you're out there amongst the people right now, and even in your district, it's very blue. What is the sentiment from the people that you're talking to as you're running? Do you see a tide shifting, or like Vic and Tabitha say in the blue area over there in St. Louis County, is it staying the same? Do you think that the blue collar workers, not to put words in your mouth, Vic, sorry.
No, I mean, he's not from a totally blue area. He's a Republican who was voted.
I know.
Into the
It's
position.
St. Louis County, but you see them. Do you see the blue collar Democrats starting to flip for the more Republican side as you kind of go and do this, searching for votes?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and you just nailed it. You just nailed it on the head. That's what Trump was able to do, is to get a lot of those blue collar Democrats. And what you're seeing is I'm seeing a lot of the moderates, especially moderate Democrats. They're confused. They don't know what to do. They're for police. These moderate Democrats that are very reasonable, hardworking people each and every day, they love their police. They were raised to respect their police officers. And so when you see these types of fringe, these extremes from the left coming out and making a lot of noise on issues like defunding the police, they get confused. They don't know what to do. They're wondering, am I a Democrat anymore? And it's hard to identify as like a blue dog Democrat, an old Democrat, if you will.
Is there safe?
And so that's.
Do you think there's safe passage for these people? Is there something that Republicans can do to say, you don't have to call yourself a Republican, but is there some way that they can be entered into the tent without going, I was a Democrat, I love the Democrats, but I feel dirty voting for Democrats? How do you do that? How do you suck them into the tent?
Oh, that is a great question. If we can come up with that golden answer, the Republicans are off to the races.
Right.
I think it's just difficult. There's just so. I don't know how about you guys, but I just feel like things are so polarized these days. It's just gotten so extreme. It seems to be the only thing catching wind and being talked about and being pushed on social media. And so I don't know. I don't know what that avenue looks like, but I'll certainly be looking for it.
Okay.
And you're right, because you know what? Right now, earlier today, Eric, we had Congressman Rodney Davis on, and we talked about the red wave. What I worry about, David, is that how can there be a red wave when we face so much censorship? Every single time we turn around, conservatives are censored.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, this movement, this silent majority movement, if you will, it's been going on for quite some time. I mean, let's look back before President Trump was elected, right? I mean, when the Clinton administration dropped that big bomb on him and some of the things that he said, people thought it was over, and the polls suggested it was going to be a landslide for Clinton. I think you're seeing a massive movement of the silent majority staying silent but still showing up to the polls.
You got to hope.
I hope you're right.
Got to hope.
Hey, Dave, what do you think about this for your slogan? Show me the money.
Ooh, Vic.
I'm going to
it's
steal
not
that.
me.
I'm going to go copyright it before you do.
Show me
Yes.
the money.
Yes.
I can already, no, that's from that's from the Facebook line.
It's so good. It writes itself.
It's because show me, it's the show me state. Show
That's
me the
right.
money. There you go.
Who are you running against? Who's
Boy,
the,
I really like it.
No,
I'll
the
find
treasurer.
a way to implement that. Thank you, Vic.
Yeah, you got no. I
Well,
already
Gallo-
said that, Eric. It's the GOP in the GOP primary. It's the current state treasurer, Scott Fitzpatrick. But I can already tell you like Dave. So,
well, there is that. So we'll be your marketing arm over here.
hey, Dave, when you run for a state auditor position like this, obviously, we know from the GOP standpoint. Has anybody else even thrown their hat into the ring from the Democratic side?
That was my question.
Of course.
It wasn't about the Republicans. I was wondering the other side.
Nicole Galloway is stepping aside, and she is currently she's the only elected Democrat to hold state office in the state of Missouri. That's it. I was just curious if you've heard of anybody else on the Democratic side.
You know what? I haven't. I have not.
I haven't
actually
either.
heard any names at all. I know there was a thought that if Jay Nixon jumped into the U.S. Senate race, that those in the U.S. Senate race would jump over to auditor. But given the fact that Nixon announced he will not be running, I don't know of any candidates right now vying for the auditor's position on the Democrat side.
Hey, if you can give another shout out to our listeners and viewers on why you should have this position, what would you say? And why
I
you?
would say, go ahead. What would you say?
And why you? Why David Gregory?
Yeah, simply put, it's just the investigative background that I have. We need someone very sharp in investigations, and given the fact that I'm an investigative attorney and an accountant, I am absolutely perfect for the job. I know how to aggressively pursue these investigations. I know every single statute and every single case law authority that I can use to go after these people. I mean, you got to understand, when an auditor attempts an investigation and they are stonewalled, which is common, what happens is they have to file for what's called a subpoena. They're going to subpoena this information with their statutory authority. And then these entities come in and say, sorry, we're not going to recognize the subpoena. We're going to quash the subpoena. And so it's a legal battle, and it's on. So we really need someone with that legal background, that investigative legal background, coupled with the accounting background, both of which I have. I think I'm perfect for the job. I'm super excited, and I'm going to be showing it throughout my campaign.
When can you start?
Yeah. When can you start that? Hey, David, thanks again for taking time to join us this morning. We wish you the best. Keep us posted on updates. I think you did a pretty good job at least selling yourself this morning. And try to have a good day. And, heck, right out of the gate, if the Missouri police believe in you and are supporting you right out of the gate, I think that says something, at least in this state of Missouri.
No question.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, Dave, we appreciate it, buddy. Have a great day, all right? All right, David Gregory, Missouri State Representative, now running for state auditor.
You know what's so funny is yesterday.
How do you get you become an accountant and an attorney already that quick? Damn, that's some some strong backing for an auditor position.
That's because he doesn't take government money. He actually wants to do things in life. He goes to school and learns things. You know, I was watching one of the left-wing media outlets the other day, and one of them said, and I'm starting to hear it a little bit more and more, that they are afraid, nervous even, that the Republicans are going to have this red tsunami. And this didn't come from Fox. Didn't come from CNN. It came from a station way left of that. And they said that the reason was, and they even admitted this, that Kevin McCartney and the Republicans are doing a fantastic job recruiting people to run for these positions. And that is one of them right there. That is one of them right there, is that every position they're looking for, they're doing a fantastic job recruiting. They're building like an all-star team in Congress, in the Senate, in all of these state positions. So maybe that's what they mean by a red tsunami.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's interesting where we're going to go from the political standpoint with everything going on, because we know there's about 30 other things that are going on right now as well. So thanks to David Gregory joining us. It is interesting because one of the big things, no matter who you're running or who's running or who you want to run, we already know, as much as we don't want it to be a part of anything, COVID, vaccines, mask, they're all a part of life for the foreseeable future. I mean, COVID's
Are
not,
they? I mean,
Tabitha,
I know.
what do you think?
I think so.
Tabitha, wake the hell up.
I have an emergency going on.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
my
I'm
Can we,
God.
someone
I
please
literally
feed her
looked
Ritalin?
over
Please,
to
someone,
get-
Ritalin right
Hey,
now.
sometimes
Take it.
things happen.
Oh, my.
I have
That's
a
every
work
single time I
emergency
ask a
taking
question.
place.
If Tabitha was your pilot on whatever flight and you were going to Chicago,
Well,
you
you
would end up
guys
in
are talking
Albuquerque.
about
That flight wouldn't be going for very
masks
long.
and
Wouldn't even get off the
COVID.
ground.
No, we weren't. I just made.
Vaccines,
Checklist,
Oh, my
nothing.
God.
Screw
Tabitha,
it.
Tabitha, I'm sorry. Wake up.
masks,
Tabitha,
COVID,
wake.
vaccines.
Wake up. So, anyway, that's a big deal. No matter what. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
I am sorry. Sometimes we have emergencies.
Sometimes. It's not sometimes. It's all the time.
Oh, my
Hey,
God.
Tabitha. Well, you guys never let me talk. And then
I
Tabitha.
know that's you don't.
Yeah.
Could
Oh,
you
my
imagine
God.
going?
Until you try to call me out on something. 'cause
course.
It's
I'm on
like
my
going
phone.
to Schnucks and trying to check out, and the checkout person's like, "Hold on, I got to get on
I'm on my
Facebook real
phone.
fast."
I'm sorry, but I have.
I got a
someone
Twitter.
Anyway,
I got
that's
a
right.
Twitter.
I have
something.
someone out working, and
All
there's
right.
a very serious.
That was
emergency
Tabitha
going on.
Hassell. Tabitha, we'll see you tomorrow. Anyway, more of a serious issue.
And Sherry's right. Yes,
Tabitha-
I'm bored with COVID.
Yeah, we're all bored with COVID, but we can't deal with anything. And we don't need Sherry's comments, that's for sure. Anyway, more important stuff we got going on. Mike Wood, the prosecuting attorney from Lincoln County. Mike, we promoted you on the show. We promoted what you're going through. Can you get into the Lincoln County courthouse yet, if you don't have a mask on?
As it stands right now, if you refuse to wear a mask when you enter the Lincoln County Courthouse, you will be ejected from the building.
Is that
they
legal?
are offering masks at the front door, but the fact of the matter is there is a mask mandate that was instituted by the presiding judge for the Lincoln County Justice Center. And to my knowledge, there's no countywide mask mandate issued by the health department or any type of countywide mask mandate issued by the county commission.
Where did he get the authority? Did you ever ask anybody?
No, this developed yesterday. Obviously, it was something we dealt with early on in the height of COVID, whether or not a judge had the authority to issue these types of orders on what is a county building with county offices. I mean, no one argues the authority of any judge to issue orders regarding their courtrooms or anything that would be collaterally associated with the courts, such as jury rooms and everything else. But whether or not a judge has the authority to issue an order mandating masks on a county building with county employees and county officials, personally, I don't believe that authority exists, and neither does the opinion of the attorney who represents the county commissioners.
That is so. So you have to go in today and ask the cop or whoever tries to keep you from entering the building, where does this authority come from? I mean, you have to at least get to that level, because I would be very interested, because it kind of is precedence for what happens in all these other county buildings. Does one judge who has, I granted he has the authority to do whatever he wants in his courtroom, but not the entire damn building where you have to get from point A to point B when point B is your office. I mean,
yeah, for example, you could come into that building, and if you're meeting with the public administrator or if you're meeting with me, that's county business that has nothing to do with the courts. So if you're a victim who needs to meet with me, if you're someone who's a witness who needs to meet with our office, that happens on a regular basis. And you would be refused entry if you decided, hey, I don't want to wear a mask.
Right.
One thing I would point out that is odd is that we share a judicial circuit with Pike County. There is an order that also deals with Pike County, but it does not require you to wear a mask into the courthouse. So depending on who your judge is, there's a good likelihood that you would park, walk into the building, walk straight to the courtroom, and never put a mask on. So the application of the order itself is arbitrary to begin with.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so Mike.
And I'll point something else out, too.
I'm trying to follow along. This makes no sense.
Yeah. So
I'll
point something else out as well, that the mask is only required in what's labeled as public areas. So we're talking about the lobby, for the most part, just the lobby, because once you get into the courtroom, the judge, depending on which judge you has the authority to tell you don't need to wear a mask inside.
So if it was,
none of this makes any sense.
It doesn't
to
make
me.
any sense. But if it was me, and I'm sure you're the same way, you're like, whatever, and you stick the mask on and you walk from down the lobby to your office, and that maybe this fight, it's not. Is it worth it to take this fight to a higher power, or is it like, or whatever? Here's my mask.
Here's what I'll point out. We've been down this path before. When we had the mask mandates during the height of the initial COVID peak, people weren't even allowed in the building. They were forced to stand out in the parking lot waiting for their case to be called, and sometimes that took hours.
Yeah.
And that's whether it was rain, snow, scalding heat. So I've seen this path before. But what we always say in our office is that we're going to do the right thing and do it the right way. My only complaint is I don't think this is the right way. Whether you believe it's the right thing,
How is it
completely
even
different.
legal? I don't even understand how it's legal. How does one man, a judge, make a decision for an entire courthouse in a county that does not have a mask mandate? I mean, can't the mayor or someone step up and say this isn't allowed?
I believe that the county commission has the authority to challenge the order. So if they decided to intervene or if they decided to initiate a legal action, I believe that they would have grounds to do that.
But why? Okay, so are you saying I'm jumping in, Eric? Sorry, you've asked like 5 questions. I'm another one. Okay, so right now, Mike, what is going on by you or by the head of Lincoln County to stop one judge from doing
That
this?
was my question. Thank you.
So we're going to explore what assistance the Attorney General would be willing to offer if it's something that they would be interested in pursuing. The problem I've got personally with my office is that we've dedicated 100% of our resources towards battling crime, which is my mandate.
Yes.
And so that's put us in a precarious position where am I asking a lawyer to pull off of their caseloads that they can dedicate time to draft motions and briefs and litigate this case ad nauseum for what purpose? I think it would be better served from the Attorney General's office or from private counsel from the county commission to step in and say, look, we're not consenting to this.
Yes.
And let them bring it. Do I have the ability to bring it? Yes. I just don't think that that's a wise use of our resources.
Well, the problem is from a TV standpoint in regards to getting a story, once somebody, and I say somebody, meaning Lincoln County, puts some pressure against this or takes this to court, then it becomes a news story because I would love to do it on Fox 2, but if somebody's not standing up to it or filing anything officially, I don't know if we can even do anything on the news about it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and that that's a decision that obviously news outlets have to make.
Who's in charge
in
Lincoln County? Who is the one person who could change all of this around right now to help what's going on at the courthouse?
Chris Knight.
I think the presiding commissioner with the assistance of the 2 associate commissioners.
And who is that? Who is that?
Joe Kyman, Mike Mueller, and Matt Bass. They're the county commissioners. And my opinion has always been that since they are the county legislative body, they're the only ones who have the ability to institute a mask mandate for county-operated buildings. And so, right now, if you walk into the historic courthouse where most of the administrative offices are held, there is no mask mandate.
It reminds me of a lion without teeth. If I were you, I'd walk right in there and say, arrest me, or whatever you're supposed to do, and then find out how this works, because it sets precedents up that they have power that maybe they don't have. And it just seems to me like you want to challenge this.
Well, there's been problems with this judge before in prior years. What's his name? I forget his name. Is it
the presiding judge is Patrick Flynn.
Right.
Patrick Flynn.
He's a pretty well-known character out in Lincoln County.
Well, mostly because there was some news stories that came out regarding his interactions with the county clerk, as you've probably read about or seen in the litigation.
Right.
Oh.
Well, he sounds like he thinks he's the boss of Lincoln County.
As a news guy, that sounds salacious.
Mike, if I were you, there's no way I'd wear a mask. I would say, hey,
I agree.
Judge Flynn, you have absolutely no jurisdiction
Why not?
over the entire courthouse.
Yeah, but
Come on.
Mike's busy. Mike doesn't have time to be put in handcuffs and go to
He's
jail.
too busy to put a mask
But I
on.
want to point out, Mike, that not one person, I'm told, in the state of Missouri has been arrested for refusing to wear a mask.
Not one person.
Not one person this entire time.
I just want to caution anybody, because I'm with you. If you want to come test the waters, the only thing I would caution anybody, and anybody could do this, it doesn't just have to be me, that whether or not the judge then believes he has the ability to hold someone in contempt and have them jailed on violating the judicial order. Not that it's a crime.
Correct. He could, and he would.
But, I want somebody to recognize that the possibility exists that you would be arrested and held on contempt charges. So,
and you would represent their case.
We would not be pursuing criminal charges.
Of course
something
not.
completely different.
Pro bono, you would represent them. But okay, it's just such a shame that these paper lions are out there and they think they have more power than they actually do, i.e. Sam Page. And
I think paper lion is a fantastic descriptor, by the way, for what's going on with that.
They look mean and they look rough and tough, but man, we have to start. And the only reason I'm saying anything is we have to start showing precedents that they don't have any bite. So if you try to do this in St. Louis County, Lincoln County, wherever, good luck. You're about to get embarrassed. That's the only thing
And I'll point out that I called 2 other jurisdictions, St. Louis County and St. Charles. There's no mask mandate from those courts either.
Right.
So it seems that it's a unique situation here in Lincoln County.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Well, Mike, we appreciate. I mean, I guess if you're listening and you live in Lincoln County and you don't like it, you can go to that Lincoln. And Chris, what's his name again? Who is in charge of Lincoln?
Well, let's see here. So it
No,
is
the judge-
Joe Kyman is the county commissioner.
I would reach out to Joe Kyman.
You reach out to Joe Kyman over and over and over again. The judge, I don't. If you don't like it, first of all, if you like this, then you're not going to say anything, or you can let the judge know you like it. But if you don't like it, I'm not so sure telling the judge is a good thing, because that'll probably just get the judge excited.
No,
So
it's just time to replace him when he comes up for election.
Patrick Flynn.
That's right.
When is election?
2 years, right?
2 more years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is.
And we could probably do that. So
Tell,
Good luck,
tell
Mike.
him he's on notice.
Mike, we appreciate
From Vic Faust.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
We're going to use his name.
Yes. Vic said you got to go.
Mike, we appreciate it, buddy. Thank you, man, for joining us. We'll keep us
Absolutely.
posted if anything
Anytime.
changes.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
All right, Chris, we got to take a quick break.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we got a ton to talk about. Don't go anywhere. We're past our break time. We'll get to that in just a moment. Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, Tabitha Hassell, Vic Faust to Fox 2. We'll be right back. If you want to give us a call, the phone number is 636-695-2915. Back with more Edge right after this.
This is the Edge Morning Show.
Live on 100.7.
The Viper.
Our homes are where we feel the most happy, safe, and secure. So when you see cracked drywall, uneven floors, or basement wall cracks, you want to make sure it's fixed forever. Woods Basement Systems, the all things basementy experts, can restore your home's value. So call toll free at 888-900-1721 for a free estimate. Foundation problems don't get better with time, they get better with Woods Basement Systems. Discount offer from Woods at viperbasements.com. That's viperbasements.com.
Look, staying healthy isn't easy. Watching your diet, hitting the gym, avoiding stress. But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed effortlessly adjusts and responds to both of you. The result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. It's the final days to save up to $1,000 on select Sleep Number 360 smart beds and adjustable bases, plus special financing. Ends Monday. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish is...
It's pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said now he speaks Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
As a trauma-informed provider, Compass Health Network is equipped to assist you or a loved one struggling with trauma, anxiety, depression, substance use disorder, or other behavioral health conditions. Our providers understand that everyone's life experiences are different and will work with you in person or virtually to develop the most effective plan of care. You are not alone. Call Compass Health Network today at 844-853-8937 or visit compasshealthnetwork.org for more information.
Keep your resolution to quit cigarettes this time. Go to I Quit Vapor, 852 Bryan Road, O'Fallon. I Quit Vapor carries the salt nicotine systems, their latest juice flavors, and all of their pod systems. Let their staff explain why the salt nicotine system is so effective in helping you to quit cigarettes for good. It has a much smoother delivery and allows you to adjust the amount of nicotine intake. I Quit Vapor is still your one-stop shop for everything vapor. Keep your quit cigarette resolution this time. Go to I Quit Vapor, 852 Bryan Road, O'Fallon. Puff bars and disposables now available.
Are you ready to start investing but aren't sure how? Go for the gains you deserve safely with this free special report from Wall Street trader and financial expert Jared Dillian. Claim your free copy at jaredradio.com. That's jaredradio.com.
You want a great job, and you want it now. Steel and Pipe in Jonesburg is hiring warehouse specialists right now for second and third shifts. Get great pay and awesome benefits like production bonuses, 401k with employer match, and paid holidays, plus medical, dental, vision, and supplementary insurance. Find out more and apply online at steelandpipe.com. Steel and Pipe in Jonesburg is looking for the right people right now. Apply in person or online at steelandpipe.com.
Here comes more of the Edge Morning Show.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Edge. My oh my, how fast the time goes by. Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, and Tabitha Hassell. I'm Vic Faust of Fox 2. Appreciate you listening every day. We have been packed today. Thanks to Rodney Davis, the congressman from Illinois, joining us. David Gregory, state representative running for state auditor. And then Mike Wood. I mean, can you imagine that? You're the city's prosecutor. You're fully vaxxed. There's no county mandate for mask. And one judge says, now we're going to lock up your place of work today. You have to wear a mask wherever you go. I mean, I don't know. It's
a public building. You are an elected official. Nobody gave you the power to do anything other than say thumbs up and thumbs down, jail, no jail.
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. I talked to somebody in my job yesterday who said, this is a good thing. They should be doing it. Why should we do a story? Because isn't the messaging tone deaf because of how serious the COVID cases are in the situation and how we desperately need masks? I asked for some science on the mask and crickets.
Did you explain?
Well, it's well known that masks stop the spread.
An N95 mask, properly sealed, properly disposed of, that you don't touch. And that means if you're a guy, you can have no facial hair.
Dude, that's
if you're
the
a
next
woman,
thing
you
coming.
can wear no makeup.
That's the next thing coming. I'm telling you
they
right
don't
now.
have enough N95 masks to enact that type of legislation.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
No, as a
But
matter of
you're
fact,
right.
they've never been
It's like-
able to produce enough. They run out of the material.
But because you said it, I do believe that if the government goes, hey, they don't believe these paper masks, but if we give everybody their own N95 mask, then they'll go, okay, these masks apparently work. Give everybody an N95 mask for free. That might be the next thing coming, is that they go, okay, you bitched about the paper mask. Here's an N95 mask. Now you have to wear this one. You know what I mean? But you're right. An N95 mask isn't going to stop the virus either. So.
No, it's not. You know, I mean, remember when we had Dr. Mario Molina on the show and we had the guy from 3M to talk about masks? Yeah. Well, Dr. Molina, who is the Nobel Prize winning scientist, did a mask study. And the mask study stated, even with an N95 mask on, you had to be at least 25 feet apart for it to be effective.
There needs to be some topics on this show that are just so boring that we never even go over ever again. And that's one of them.
I agree. I am so tired of talking about masks and COVID.
That's it. The Delta variant, it's more contagious. It seems to be less deadly. Boom, there you go. Let's never talk about that again.
Here's the deal.
Let's never talk about it again. Because I don't want
to. Well, here's the problem, though, Eric. There were 10 deaths yesterday, and if it continues to go up, then we have an issue.
And it will continue to go up.
That's where
there's no
that's
question
where it
about
is an
it.
issue. Eric, it is. We've got almost 500 people in the hospital right now.
How many deaths?
And the deaths yesterday, we were at 10.
Okay,
but is that a bad? I mean, I can never tell.
Of course, it's bad. But here's the thing, Eric. We have 60 to 80,000 deaths from flu every flu season. Okay, 60 to 80,000 in many years from flu deaths. Of course, not in 2020 or 2021 because there is no flu. But the problem is we don't issue mask mandates, business restrictions, lockdowns over flu when there are 60 to 80,000 deaths. It makes it.
I'm
makes
in no
me feel
way.
like,
I'm in no way.
Democrats are
anti-vaxxer.
intolerable of even one death from COVID.
It is, Drew. You're right. My buddy Drew on the text line goes, it's spreading like wildfire.
And it is, just like the flu and the common cold and a lot of other illnesses.
It is.
Just remember,
it is.
The flu is nowhere to be found. This is basic stuff for those who have covered this from the get-go. The flu, Tabitha even took the time to look this up yesterday.
I did look it up.
The flu
it's
did not
non-existent.
just stop from existence, okay? The flu isn't, the flu is still here. There are cases. The testing most of the testing does not differentiate between the flu, COVID, and
Correct.
the variant. This is simple stuff, okay? It's still there. yes, there is a virus that is spreading like wildfire. And yes, as we've talked about in the show, Eric, as you just said, it is more transmissible, but it has proven to be less deadly. But people are still dying. And once again, talking to David Tannehill and another ER or another doc who's in the ICU, or not an ICU doc, but a doc who's treating patients as they come in, guess what? It's sad, but here's what's happening. Almost every single person is obese, so it is attacking our immune system health, and it's still attacking the African American community. Those groups, if you're obese and African American, it is really, really bad right now. It is. But at the same point in time, it's also hitting people that we know, even on this show, in a very, very, very serious way. We know
Absolutely.
we know somebody who wasn't vaccinated, and for 3 weeks, it's crushed.
I know. I
them.
was shocked to hear that yesterday. I was really shocked.
For 3 weeks. Now, once again, vaccinated or unvaccinated, it's hitting you. And guess what? It is spreading from vaccinated people to vaccinated people, not just unvaccinated. So don't say that unvaccinated people are spreading it, because there's no scientific data that shows that. And when it comes to the mask, come on. Show us the scientific evidence.
There
It's
is no
just not
scientific
there.
evidence.
It's not. It sounds good. It looks good. It makes us feel good, like we're doing something. But we have talked to people.
And there's
over
other
over and
dynamics
over
now
where
that
there's
are
not that evident.
There's other dynamics now going on. Mayor de Blasio, he made a mandate that you have to be vaccinated to get into restaurants, sports clubs, any public buildings, any private buildings. It is now mandated you have the vaccine card. Well, now the liberals are saying that's racist. Just from what you just said, Vic, is that African Americans, people of color, don't want this thing. And they cite that they were experiments in the past, which is a fear. It's a fear. I get it. You are fearful of that. Whatever you're fearful of this vaccine, it doesn't even matter. They're fearful of it. They're not getting vaccinated. And now the liberal media, take a look for yourself, is starting to call de Blasio's vaccine mandate racist. Wow, there's a new dynamic. In the city of the biggest city on the planet, they're calling these guys racist because they think it's oppressive to African Americans. It's oppressive to everybody.
It's oppressive to everyone.
It's oppressive
Absolutely.
to everyone. But they think that the white liberal elite are getting the vaccine and the black people are not getting the vaccine. So how do you put that into the media?
That is what's happening. The vaccination rates in North County, North St. Louis City,
are
the lowest that we have in the state.
Is it racist? If
No, it has nothing to
Sam
do with
Payne, I know, but if
it has
Sam,
nothing to do with racism.
but you tell that to MSNBC, tell it to CNN. They're now giving these people airtime. The mayor
Giving them airtime of what?
The mayor of Boston the other day said, if you do this, it's a racist.
Well, yeah, now you're talking about a separate issue.
Well, I think that is the issue.
No, it's not. The mayor of Boston is not for vaccination cards. The mayor of Boston came out.
So
and
she's
went,
calling out de Blasio.
No, she's calling out de Blasio because of what New York is doing with where you have to have a card to get into everywhere.
Yes.
The mayor of Boston says that she's equating that to slavery.
Yes. And I'm just saying that's a new dynamic that's now been thrown into this entire mix.
Yeah,
It's that
going against.
vaccination card is racist. If I can't get on a
Yes.
damn airplane because I'm an African American and I don't have this vaccination card, you are a racist American.
Yeah,
And this
I mean,
is why the
that's
vaccination
new.
card has some serious problems.
And we
now.
need to point out that you need a photo ID to get a vaccination.
And
how about this?
Go ahead. Sorry.
That's funny. I've been meaning to say this for a while. My 13-year-old son. Now get this and listen up. My 13-year-old son can't play Little League football this fall without an ID card.
Oh no. No,
That's
can't,
racist.
That can't be true.
That's oppressive.
100%.
Where I gotta see
you
that.
have to have.
Let's boycott the
You
school.
have to have a state ID card to prove who you are and your age.
Why?
To play football.
Why?
That's
For what
because-
reason? How do you even?
That's so oppressive.
Guess what?
At the
Is
bookmobile,
it
you
really-
get one. Where do you get a card?
No, you at the DMV.
They will.
For a
Yes,
tw-
they will. They will issue children an ID card
You get an ID card, Eric.
if they have a birth
And
certificate.
it's not against what they're doing. My point is, and I hope you're not missing it, is what Tabitha is leading into about how you don't need an ID to vote. You don't
Right.
need, we can't.
But
oh
to
my
play
God, ID
football.
cards are racist. But guess what? White kids, black kids, Latino kids, English kids. I'm trying to think of all the kids we have on
Asian
our
kids.
football. Asian kids. If you want to
Definitely
play,
not
if you
Swedish
want to
kids.
play little league football
Right.
in the St. Louis area in our football league, you have to have an ID card.
This is a huge story.
Proving
I've never. Yeah.
who
You need
you are.
You need a photo ID to fish, for gosh sakes, but you don't need
do.
one to vote. It's racist to ask for an ID to vote, but not for any single thing in this country because we are so highly regulated these days that you need an ID for everything.
How do the African American kids feel about that? Is that racist?
Well, I don't know.
Seriously, I mean, you got to equate. You have to start equating things with each other.
Eric, you are 100%
But I don't.
right.
I mean, has anyone done an interview?
Because it's all propaganda when it comes to voting, and we all know it. We all know.
I'm just saying. Now there are these new dynamics that are coming out, and these new stories that are starting to come out. That are you're seeing all this stuff from these perspectives. You don't know how fortunate you guys are to live in St. Charles County, Missouri. You would be even more fortunate if you lived in Lake of the Ozarks. They just don't care. They don't even know that there's a COVID problem in the Lake of the Ozarks. You do not know how fortunate you guys have it. Could you imagine living in Boston or in New York City or anywhere in Chicago? You guys are lucky, man. Seriously.
From the Facebook line, think about this. Requiring an ID to vote is racist. Requiring a vaccine, not racist.
Right, no, exactly.
Oh my God, so true.
We're not trying to be mean, but seriously.
So true. We're in the silly season, man. It's
yeah, the funny juice. There's a lot of people drinking the funny juice, that's for sure.
So what happens if you go to receive a vaccine and you don't have your photo ID? Do they refuse your vaccine? I mean, I would assume they would have to, right?
Where's John Parker when
I mean,
you
if
need
you
him?
go to a doctor appointment
Where's
and you don't
John
have
Parker?
an ID.
I would love to ask John Parker
Beetlejuice?
this. Beetlejuice. Where is he? And just ask him, is this racist? I mean, seriously.
Is what racist?
Is mandatory vaccination cards to get in anywhere in St. Louis.
Ask Drew.
Right.
Drew Collins, is it racist? Drew Collins.
And
Is it racist?
No, but
Come on, join. Go ahead.
And why?
And why?
Exactly.
That question came from me through Vic.
Think of all the things you cannot do in this country. You know, have you ever even thought about it? We are so highly regulated in this country. You cannot do a darn thing without them knowing exactly who you are and showing a photo ID, but not voting.
We're laughing because we don't
I can't
wanna
believe
cry.
you just said that
Because
I was about to just say that.
You're about to
It's like comedy hour here talking about all this stuff, and it's like serious.
I'm turning into Eric. That's awesome.
Good. Come over to the dark side. Don't take any of this stuff too
No,
serious.
it's not the
You'll
dark
kill
side. It's the
yourself.
funny side.
I know. It is funny.
A lot of this is when you think about what we're having to deal with and how it doesn't make
There's
sense.
John Parker. He's popped
It doesn't
in.
make sense.
He popped in.
It doesn't make sense.
John,
It
what was
doesn't
the
make
question again? Let me ask it so that he
Ask
knows.
the question, unless
John,
you need my help.
Well, I always need your help. I feel like I'm on a leash over here. But, John, here's the question. The mayor of Boston came out on MSNBC and CNN, I believe, and said that Bill de Blasio's vaccination card mandate to get into any public space is racist. Racist, right?
Yeah, and she is African American, by
and
the way.
she's equating it with slavery. Do you feel the same way? And if you do feel the same way, then you're kind of on our side about all of this stuff. So I'd just like to get your opinion about it. That's all. I think that's fair, right?
And you said you're on our side.
Yes, I'm always trying to. I love John Parker. He's a cool dude.
And Drew
I'm always trying to pull him over to my side.
Drew Collins states no, because the virus doesn't discriminate. It can kill anyone. So I guess he does not feel that it's racist.
Okay, so
No, and guess what? That's the whole thing. Everybody has their own opinion, whether you're white or black, Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. Because the mayor of Boston, who said vaccination cards are slavery and would equate slavery, she is a very intelligent African-American woman who is the mayor of Boston.
But think about it this way. So let's say that Boston, let's say 85% of the white elite that live up there, and then a bunch of the rednecks that live up there as well. Let's say they all got vaccinated. They're like, okay, I live in Boston. Yeah, I'm going to get the needle. I'm going to get the jab. And let's say that, and this is what she's citing, is that the African American community, they're like, I'm out.
Yeah.
No way am I doing that. And they're like, so.
And she just didn't
Right.
go off by herself. She's not a lone wolf.
I think she
has heard that from her community.
And she cited stats, I believe. I'm going to check into this today, but she cited stats that were like, the scales were way out of balance. And it made sense to me. It's like, man, you're kind of holding these people down by mandating they can't get into a restaurant. They can't get into a sports club. They can't get into a stadium. That seems
It's
a little
called
bit.
the mark of the beast, isn't it? You cannot do anything unless you get your vaccination, right?
So in
when does it come down to grocery
you
stores?
called out John and Drew, and they both
Right.
said, no, it's not racist.
So according
But
to
you
John
already
and
knew what they
Drew,
were gonna say.
no, I didn't. According to John and Drew, go get your damn vaccination.
Well, it's not even just the vaccination. It's being asked about your vaccination card.
So if you want to go anywhere internally, anywhere inside, just go get the vaccination.
Because the mayor didn't say she was against, quote, vaccination.
No, she didn't.
She just said she was against people checking for your vaccination card.
Right.
Equating it to slavery.
Right, which is a new dynamic.
Are you really a free slave? Let me see your papers.
All right.
That sort of a situation going back in the day.
Wow.
That's what she's equating it to.
God, that is so ugly. We have someone on the phone line. Who's
All
on
right,
the phone
yeah,
line?
we got. Let's see, we got about 5 minutes before we take a break. Who do we have on the phone line? Because nobody's told me. Hello, you're on the Viper?
Push that little red button right there, Tab. See that? There you
You're
go.
on the you're on the morning
Very
edge. Who
good.
are we speaking to?
John Parker.
I said your name 3 times, not 4. 3 times is text line, 4 times is call in.
Hi, guys.
John,
Good
how
morning.
you doing, buddy?
What's on your mind today, John?
No, you ask me the question so I can make sure I have it in context here, Eric. So I don't want to answer the wrong way here.
Because I hate these stupid conversations. You realize that, right? I watch MSNBC. I watch MSNBC like I watch the Golf Channel, very seldom. And I was watching the other day, and the beautiful mayor of Boston, she comes out and she says, this thing that they're doing in New York it's racist. It's like slavery. It's akin to slavery. I don't appreciate it. I don't want my community being shut out of anything, and I do not want vaccination mandates in the city of New York. They're definitely not coming here.
Max it the card. Max
The
it
card, right.
And she's African American.
And she's African American. And the first person I thought it was you. And I just wanted to get your
Thanks for that.
because I knew that I was going to talk about
You're
that
the
on the
only
show.
African American he knows. John.
I knew no, you're not. I knew that I was going to talk about it on the
That's funny,
show, and I was like, who can comment on it better than my good friend John Parker? So go ahead.
Well, I think it's a little extreme to call it racist. I don't think it has. The COVID doesn't have any discrepancy here. It's killing a lot of folks. So
Well, let's back up for a second.
I don't think it's picking people by color.
So
obviously, there's a lack of vaccinations going on in the African American community, but I don't think it's cherry picking people and killing. Going down the street,
De Blasio,
like a tornado hopping on this house and skipping over to the next one.
So De Blasio is definitely not a racist by doing this, and you support De Blasio by doing it.
No, she's way off on that one now. I mean, I don't
Isn't
think
that
it's
weird?
racist by asking people for a vaccine ID. I don't think that's racist.
But you
at
think
all.
it's racist to ask people for an ID to vote? And I'm not saying you do. I'm asking you.
Oh, damn, she caught you there. You got to get out of this trap.
You know what? I think when it comes to voting rights, I mean, you're talking about apples and oranges. If we're talking about voting rights to a vaccine.
No. She caught you. You're in a trap right now. You got to figure out how to get out of the trap.
Oh, there's no traps here. I don't believe in traps.
Tabitha does. I'm talking to her every day.
For a voter ID card, when you're going down that road, it's a little bit different. I mean,
no, it's
the
not.
African American community, especially older African Americans in rural communities,
but
just
John,
don't
you
have
have
they don't have access to those.
Okay,
things.
well, they have to have an older African American person has to have a photo ID to get a vaccine. They have to. If you go to try to get a vaccination and you don't have a photo ID, they will turn you around.
An older African American has to have an ID to get on a plane.
Absolutely, they do. So why?
I think everybody's got to have an ID to get on a plane.
Exactly.
Don't
So why is it that an older African American person can't get an ID to vote, but they can get an ID to get the vaccination?
Well, Well, are they getting the ID to get the vaccination, though? I mean, because last I checked, the vaccination numbers in the African-American community completely are down.
And you're absolutely right. But then that goes back to the statement, then asking every person in a city to vaccinate or you can't participate in all these different events is racist. So in other words, you're saying it is racist because you can't. So this woman can't go to an event because she doesn't have an ID to get a vaccination. So then it is racist, right?
You're in a trap. You can't get out.
It's
You're
a
in a
trap,
spider
John.
web.
They trapped you.
The more you move, the more trapped you
Eric
get.
brought you into this today, John.
John, come on. I'm going to give you a day to figure all this out. I need an essay.
I really love this crap early in the morning.
Come on, John.
Hey, John, African-American kids have to get a state ID to play football.
Because I'm looking at you on screen, you're just laughing your butt off, and I really like that. That's really funny. I think you're talking about apples and oranges. Okay?
No, we're not. No,
we're not.
If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck.
You can't tell an 80-year-old African-American that she has to get an ID to get a vaccine, but doesn't have to get an ID to vote. And then you can't require vaccinations if people cannot obtain IDs.
The numbers are down in the African community and the African American community because, one, they're still in the community. You're still stuck on history.
John,
John,
soft doesn't work.
This is
Guys,
nothing to do with history.
John, this is.
We ain't got no time.
John,
we gotta go.
Next, you're going to be
We gotta
playing
go to
Michael
break.
Brown and
I got to get to break. Eric asked you to call. John, thanks for calling
You tried.
in.
John, you tried.
Tabitha and Eric are saying that's the fighter who's just been hit in the head. He's on the mat, and he's about ready to be counted out, but the bell rings.
We won this one, John. We won this one.
It goes to the next round. John, thanks for calling in.
He didn't tap out. He didn't tap out. I'll tell him that.
We got to get to the break. We'll be right back with more Edge right after this.
The Edge Morning Show.
Need flooring?
Get your flooring installed correctly.
At Flooring Correct in Wentzville for carpet, laminate, vinyl, wood plank, and more. FlooringCorrect.com.
Good morning, privates! Good morning, Drill Sergeant! I mean, seriously, what a pleasant morning. The sun is shining and the birds are chirping. You seem to be in a good mood today. Astute observation, Private. Astute.
He's probably happy because he found out Honey Nut Cheerios can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
So, in lieu of the obstacle course today, I propose a nice meditative nature walk. Does that sound delightful to everyone? Yes, Drill Sergeant!
Have a change of heart with Honey Nut Cheerios. Learn more about Honey Nut Cheerios by picking up a box at your local store.
Fever is a leading symptom of the coronavirus, so take your temperature twice a day with the Exergen Temporal Scanner. It's quick and easy to use, and its accuracy is backed by more than 80 clinical studies. Have your family start and end their day with the only home thermometer used and recommended by hospitals, doctors, and nurses. Your family can take their temperatures in seconds to know where they stand in the fight against COVID-19. Protect your family from the spread of this deadly disease and stay safe with Exergen.
Midnight Auto Supply in St. Peters carries a full line of automotive parts and paints. They're a PPG Platinum distributor of automotive paint and industrial coatings and auto body shop supplies. For over 40 years, your hometown auto parts store is Midnight Auto. Stop in at Midnight Auto Supply in St. Peters, just off Mexico Road, 447-4000, 447-4000, on the web at mid-niteautosupply.com.
Compass Health Network is offering the COVID-19 vaccine daily at many of our locations. Please visit compasshealthnetwork.org for a location near you or call 844-853-8937 for an appointment.
Spectrum Glass is known for their quality work on windshields, but they do so much more. Spectrum Glass also specializes in residential, commercial, and automotive window tinting. Reduce the heat, reduce the fading, and increase your comfort with professional window tinting from Spectrum Glass. Serving St. Charles and surrounding counties since 1995, Spectrum Glass is still your premier company for windshield replacement. And with free mobile service, they come to you. 636-294-1800 on Facebook and SpectrumGlassOnline.com.
Welcome to MegaNet. For slow internet, press 1. For indifferent customer service, press 2. For confusing pricing, press 3. For extremely long wait times, stay on the line. You are 87th in line, 85th in line, 87th in line, 85th in line, 85th in line.
Where there was frustration, now there's satisfaction.
Hello, this is Helen at Gateway Fiber. How may I help you?
Isn't it time you refreshed your internet provider? For more information, visit gatewayfiber.com.
Now, back to the Edge Morning Show.
Hey guys, welcome back to The Edge. Is it wrong for us to toot our own horn? I love this show. The show is great. We got everything. We got drama. We've got comedy. We've got amazing guests. We got great chat. We've got education.
You know what? PRL, when PRL came out, Platinum Rock Legends, we noticed there was a lot of success to the band. And about a year later, we noticed a bunch of fakes.
They're all over the place.
There's going to be a lot of fakes coming out.
Oh, what a great analogy.
There's
Eric
gonna be a
Johnson's
lot
on
of
the
fakes.
game.
I think you just had one. I think you just had one.
Keep your eyes and ears out for the fakes.
We're just having a little bit of fun with John Parker.
I mean, you can hire the fakes. They're good for bar mitzvahs and they're good for birthday parties, but not for the big stages.
Eric.
The Morning Edge, it's the real deal, man. It's the real deal.
Eric, please tell
Seriously.
us. Please tell us that John Parker is not the only African-American person you know.
I'm pretty
Come
sure.
on. He is not.
Name another one.
Name another one? I know Barack Obama. I mean, no, that is the dumbest thing you've ever
That
said.
was the best comment ever.
You say dumb things all the time,
Question.
but that was right up there at the top of the ladder.
Tabitha's on fire in the last 15 minutes. Once we got, I had to scold her. I had to wake her up. But now she's awake.
I'm back with
But
the game
if
now.
I was John Parker right now, I would be just steaming mad knowing that he just got
John
his
doesn't
ass
get
handed. He got his ass handed to
He
him by
doesn't
Tabitha
get
Hassell.
John
How do you
doesn't
get your
get
ass handed to you by Tabitha
excited.
Hassell?
Oh, I'm sure he sees it differently.
I'm sure he
But
does.
you can't. All you got to go is relive. Look, there's multiple IDs that you have to get now to live in society. You got to play football as a little kid. You need an ID.
He
You
knew
want to
it,
go into a
yeah.
restaurant in New York. You need a vaccination ID.
Exactly.
You want to get on an airplane. You need an ID to vote. Maybe you need an ID.
Yeah, see,
To play Little League football, you've got to have
You
an ID.
do. Everything.
Where do we live?
You cannot play football without the ID card.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, John knew he was losing because I've played this game before. And when people start reverting back, history said.
Yeah, he says.
Then I'm like, yep, you
well,
lost.
you know, we're going to go back. I think it's history.
But Eric asked him to call in, and guess what? Johnny on
And
the
he
spot,
did.
he
He
did.
always does.
So
And he knows what
he's a
facing
soldier.
when he calls.
He
Yes,
is.
he is.
He's
No
a good
question.
friend of the show.
Good friend of yours.
Eric, we got to get out of here.
Oh, look at that. See, someone said, Eric, you're talking big now that he's off the phone. I would have kept him on the phone the whole show. I don't care.
That's how Eric operates.
I don't care. Actually, the
We gotta
more he
get outta here.
talks, it's like flypaper. The more he talks, the more tangled he gets.
We'll see what we got.
It's like that's why he talks like this. He talks real quiet and real slow, like it means something. It doesn't. He's still
Well,
in the
it's
same
early
web.
It's early.
We got to
for
get
him.
out of here, guys. Come back more tomorrow. The Edge, 100.7 The Viper. Share the show. Like our YouTube page, please, please, please. We love that as well, especially if you like what we're doing. Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, Tabitha Hassell, and Vic Faust of Fox 2. We'll see you for Fox 2 News at 5 and 9 tonight. Actually, it's 5, and then after NFL preseason football starts tonight on
Yes!
5. So that means we don't start the 9 o'clock show until like 10:30.
There you go.
Everybody's wearing masks.
All right. Shanny's up next, and Dan Bongino for others. Have a great day.